Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching Gravitas with me, Molly Gambhir. Let's get started. Our top focus tonight on Gravitas, we are telling you all about India's Swadeshi push against Trump's tariffs and how India is also using this as an opportunity to diversify its markets, strengthen exports. In fact, Trump's tariff squeeze has also brought India closer to China. What does that mean for the United States? We are decoding all of that and more in just a bit. Here's a look at what else is lined up for you on the show tonight. Mounting trouble for Benjamin Netanyahu from multiple fronts in Israel. We are getting you the complete story. The latest on the flood situation in Jammu and Kashmir coming up, as other parts of northern India are also impacted. All this and more coming up for you. The tariffs have landed. US President Donald Trump has pulled the trigger on his big trade strike on India, doubling duties on imports to 50%. Washington calls it punishment for India's purchase of Russian oil. But here in India, it is being seen as something far more serious. It is being seen as modern-day tariff imperialism. It is a blow not only to India's key industries, millions of jobs, but also the very fabric of India-US ties in a way that have been built over the past 2 decades. But India is not bowing down to Washington's bullying tactics. Prime Minister Modi's Swadeshi push has become the rallying cry, one that is betting big on being resilient, self-reliant, and on the promise that small entrepreneurs, farmers, workers will not be left behind. India is pushing back, using this as an opportunity to diversify its markets, strengthen exports, boost domestic consumption. Faced with the tariff on exports, India has reached out to dozens of countries to up trade in key sectors like textiles, chemicals. The goal is to offset any loss in export of goods and services to the United States. New Delhi is also preparing a series of steps to cushion the impact. The Commerce Ministry is holding urgent talks with exporters, industry groups, global partners to diversify India's markets and offset what could be, according to some estimates, a $48 billion hit to exports. That plan reportedly includes ramping up shipments to 40 countries from the UK, Japan, Europe, Australia to West Asia. Remember, India already has existing trade agreements with the UK, Australia and the UAE, as well as other European countries. According to analysts, it will offer opportunities to boost Indian exports, particularly textiles. Last year itself, India exported $37 billion worth of textiles to the United States. And the goal now is to pitch India as a reliable supplier of high-quality, sustainable products to new buyers. Sectors like leather, gems and jewelry, and even shrimp farming are all under pressure to pivot fast. And that's not all. The government is also leading on domestic reforms. An overhaul of the goods and services tax system is expected to make both daily essentials as well as big-ticket goods cheaper. And that basically will boost local consumption to absorb some of the shock. There is one silver lining as well. Nearly 30% of India's exports to the United States, including pharmaceutical products, remain duty-free. As India focuses on these measures and continues on the path to reforms, the disruption caused by tariffs may be bruising, but may not be all gloom and doom. For Prime Minister Modi, the issue is both economic and political. Just 2 days before the tariffs came into effect, he told a rally in Gujarat that India would withstand the pressure and that small entrepreneurs, farmers and shopkeepers would remain protected. In his words, no matter how much pressure comes, we will keep increasing our strength to withstand it, quote unquote. And the reactions in India have also been swift. Trump's tariff squeeze has also pushed India closer to China. And this week, Prime Minister Modi will travel to China for the first time since the deadly Galwan clash of 2020 between Indian and Chinese troops. He joins leaders from Russia, Iran, Central Asia at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit. Economic cooperation is set to dominate the agenda at the SCO Summit. In China, Prime Minister Modi is expected to hold bilaterals with President Xi Jinping. According to analysts, these tariffs have infused a sort of urgency into efforts to stabilize ties with Beijing. And China has firmly expressed that it stands with India against Trump's tariffs and has shown willingness to work towards resolving issues with New Delhi. Last year, trade between India and China hit $118 billion, making China India's second largest trading partner after America. Prime Minister Modi showing up at the SCO summit will be the clearest sign yet of warming ties with China, a shift that could also upend years of US efforts to build India as a counterweight to China. For Washington, losing India would be the worst case scenario. But going by Washington's actions as of now, the tariff war is only making it harder for India to trust America, especially as India doubles down on energy security and strategic autonomy. And these are the red lines India will not compromise on. Let's now shift our focus to West Asia, where Benjamin Netanyahu's tenure as Israel's prime minister appears to be under severe strain. Are his days as the country's leader numbered? And why is this question being asked? Nearly 2 years of the war have left Israel's citizens, intelligence veterans, even the military frustrated. Anger has been mounting, protests spreading, and Netanyahu's own allies appear to be looking past him. In fact, in an interview with Israeli media, former Mossad chief Yossi Cohen said that the public is demanding what he called real change in leadership, adding that he sees himself as a candidate to lead Israel. And the announcement cuts deep for Benjamin Netanyahu, who once appointed Cohen to head Mossad and, according to Israeli media, has viewed Cohen as a longtime confidant. Israel media reports state that Cohen is seriously exploring the launch of his own party to press for political transition. Discontent also seems to be mounting within the Israeli armed forces. The IDF Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Eyal Zamir, has reportedly stated that the military has already created conditions for a possible deal, placing the decision squarely on Netanyahu. While Netanyahu insists on occupying all of Gaza, Zamir has reportedly pushed back, warning that such a move would risk the lives of hostages and trap Israel's exhausted military in a prolonged conflict. A report in Israeli newspaper Haaretz describes the ground troops as saying that they feel like cannon fodder. They cite severe shortages of vital equipment due to budget constraints, even as a major operation looms in Gaza City. The streets of Tel Aviv are also a stage for dissent. Thousands of demonstrators, including families of hostages, have filled the city center, demanding that Netanyahu cut a deal with Hamas to end the war and secure the release of the captives.
Ariel Cunio!
Former IDF chief Gadi Eisenkot has gone a step further, by the way, accusing Netanyahu of stalling to buy time, claiming that the Israeli Prime Minister is drifting from one plan to another without listening to the public opinion or providing a clear direction. Across the Atlantic, Washington is sending signals of its own. The U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff confirmed that U.S. President Donald Trump will be chairing a White House meeting to finalize a comprehensive strategy for Gaza once the fighting subsides. And this move underscoring that American leaders are already preparing a post-war framework.
Yes, we've got a large meeting in the White House tomorrow, chaired by the president, and it's a very comprehensive plan we're putting together on the next day that I think many people are going to be, they're going to see how robust it is and how well-meaning it is.
And for Netanyahu, every sign right now seems to be pointing towards a crumbling foundation. The army's leadership is voicing opposition in a certain way. His allies like Cohen are preparing to challenge him. Israeli citizens filling up the streets with demands for change. The United States seems to be charting a future for Gaza. For a leader who has seen crisis after crisis, the question still is this the political battle that he may not survive? And even as the Israeli operations continue in Gaza, tensions have boiled over to the other part as well, with the Israeli army raiding various parts of occupied West Bank. Take a look. Relentless rainfall continuing to wreak havoc across northern India in several parts. In fact, several parts have witnessed landslides, inundation of low-lying areas, disrupted roads, sight of broken bridges. In Jammu and Kashmir, flash floods caused extensive damage to infrastructure in some parts. Torrential rainfall brought the Union territory to a standstill as flash floods, road cave-ins, house collapses occurred across several areas. At least 33 people have lost their lives so far in a landslide near the Vaishno Devi shrine. The shrine board has urged the devotees to reschedule their pilgrimage, and teams from the district administration, police, NDRF, SDRF, the Indian Army, local volunteers have been undertaking evacuation and relief operations in the worst hit parts. In Udhampur district, a landslide caused a huge boulder to fall onto the road, prompting the closure of the vital Jammu-Srinagar National Highway for public safety. Rail traffic has also been severely impacted across Jammu and Kashmir. The Jammu route remains the most affected. The Northern Railways announced the cancellation of 22 trains scheduled for today, halting at or departing from Jammu and Katra stations. The Met Department has forecast very heavy rainfall in the next 24 hours, in fact, with the river levels of the Tavi and Chenab already at the alert mark. The Jammu region is witnessing its heaviest spell of rainfall in decades since the beginning of this week. In Punjab, meanwhile, rescue operations are underway in the flood-hit parts. NDRF, Army and other agencies have intensified the operations there following days of heavy rainfall. In a brief display of courage, the Indian Army carried out a daring airlift to rescue people from a building surrounded by raging floodwaters near Pathankot. Himachal Pradesh also severely hit this monsoon season. A red alert has been sounded in Kangra and Mandi. For 2 days, Beas River has been overflowing in Mandi due to incessant rainfall. The Leh-Manali highway has been closed for all kinds of traffic movement until further orders. The stretches of the highway between Kullu and Manali have been washed away as well, causing disruption with the daily commute of people in Kullu. In fact, the situation in Himachal Pradesh worsened as the Beas River overflowed, cutting off roads and highways and submerged the low-lying areas. According to the Himachal Pradesh State Disaster Management Authority, 310 people have lost their lives in rain-related incidents since the 20th of June. The state has suffered extensive loss of life and property during the ongoing monsoon. The worst casualty figures have been reported from Mandi, Kangra, Chamba, Kinnaur districts. And here's a quick look at what else is lined up for you on the show tonight. We are getting you the latest on the Russia-Ukraine war in just a bit. What are things looking like on the battlefield? A mysterious object has left top scientists scratching their heads. Is it a comet, an asteroid, or something far more extraordinary? We get you a detailed report. A ruthless energy blitz has left over 100,000 Ukrainian homes in total darkness. Moscow pushing deeper into the critical Dnipropetrovsk region, giving Kiev a severe strategic blow. Russia warning Europe hard against sending troops to Ukraine, meanwhile raising the stakes in this brutal war. Take a look.
Ukraine plunges into darkness. Over 100,000 homes across Poltava, Sumy and Chernihiv are without power after a relentless wave of Russian drone attacks targeted vital electricity and gas infrastructure. The hit on gas pipelines and power stations sends shockwaves through energy supplies, forcing hospitals and essential services into crisis management as Kyiv scrambles to restore light. Kyiv has also stepped up its attacks on Russian energy infrastructure in recent weeks. Gas stations have run dry in some regions of Russia after Ukrainian drones struck Russian refineries and other oil infrastructure. Ukraine says it is using its homegrown new long-range missile known as Flamingo. On the battlefield, Russia claims new ground in the Dnipropetrovsk region, a crucial front line that Kyiv quietly confirms has seen incursions. This marks a significant setback for the Ukrainian military, threatening to shift the balance in one of the war's fiercest theaters. Russia issues a stark warning to Europe: no foreign boots on Ukrainian soil. Moscow flatly rejects any European troops deployments, branding them as dangerous provocations that threaten to escalate the conflict further. Kremlin officials dismiss prospects of a meeting with Zelensky anytime soon. On the ground, the front lines are shifting Russia, which now occupies around 1/5 of Ukraine. It has advanced in recent months in a grinding campaign against Kyiv's smaller, outgunned army. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
The meeting between US President Donald Trump and the South Korean president in Washington concluded on a rather unusual note, with the US president demanding to own a part of the South Korean land that hosts American bases. Here's what happened. During that summit with his South Korean counterpart, Donald Trump pushed for Seoul to transfer control of land allotted to US forces Korea. The US president justified his demand by citing American investment in facilities based out of Republic of Korea, hinting at both plans for expansion as well as to build a strategic alliance that could serve the interest of both the countries in the face of regional security threats. And experts worry that Trump's proposal of owning South Korean territories to be used for American bases in the region strictly departs from the agreement that has governed the US military on the Korean Peninsula for decades. And many say that Trump could view this security alliance to be purely transactional and even self-serving to some extent. At the outset, though, this may simply signal America's willingness to commit to a long-term military presence on the Korean Peninsula, but one that could come with implications for North Korea. Speaking of which, Trump had an entirely different tune to sing. Trump said that he wishes to meet the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un as soon as this year itself. And this, he said, is part of an attempt to revive the failed nuclear diplomacy of his first term as American president. Listen to this.
I have a great relationship with Kim Jong-un. I hope it stays that way. I think it will. I have a very good relationship. I understand him. I spend a lot of free time with him, talking about things that we probably aren't supposed to talk about. And, you know, I get along with him really well. I think he has a country of great potential, tremendous potential.
The South Korean president, meanwhile, hailed Trump's comment and hoped for him to end the decades-old standoff between South and North Korea. That is yet to have a peace treaty in place. Now, important to note here that the United States shares a defense treaty with South Korea, under which the U.S. maintains about 28,500 military personnel based in South Korea, more than in any foreign country other than Germany and Japan, by the way. Prepared to face any threats from neighboring North Korea. However, experts suggest for America, its top priority remains to secure strategic interests against aggressors like China. And Trump's two-pronged diplomacy aims to basically achieve just that. Meanwhile, South Korean and U.S. troops held a joint training exercise near a river in the southeast of South Korea's capital on Wednesday as part of their annual Freedom Shield combined exercise. Greenland is back in the spotlight again. Denmark summoned the U.S. charged affairs following reports of American attempts to interfere in the autonomous territory. According to a local Danish public television network, U.S. officials reportedly tried to gather information in Greenland's capital about local opinions on relations with the U.S. and tensions between Greenland and Denmark. Reportedly, the information also pertaining to sensitive historical issues like the forced removal of Inuit children and forced contraception of women, reportedly. Denmark's foreign minister, meanwhile, sending out a strong hands-off Greenland message. He says that they are fully aware of the growing international interest in Greenland and warns that any attempt to influence the island's future or interfere in internal affairs is simply unacceptable. According to analysts, Greenlanders largely want independence from Denmark, but they are not ready to become part of the United States. They are not ready to become part of the United States. In fact, since returning to the White House in January, Donald Trump has repeatedly said that America needs the strategically located, resource-rich island for security reasons. The vast semi-autonomous Danish territory on the shortest route between North America and Europe, vital for the US ballistic missile warning system, and has also refused to rule out the use of force to secure it. Back in March, US Vice President J.D. Vance accused Denmark of leaving Greenland exposed to potential influence from China and Russia, and his comments came during an uninvited visit to the Arctic island, further escalating the tensions. 2 months before that, in January, Donald Trump Jr. also made a trip to Greenland, which marked a renewed U.S. interest in the strategically located island. In response to growing geopolitical pressure, meanwhile, Copenhagen announced a $2 billion plan in January to strengthen Denmark's military presence in the Arctic. Both Denmark and the U.S. maintain strategic and military interests in the region, including the critical U.S. missile defense base at Pituffik. Switching gears, the Australian and Philippine forces have staged their largest ever joint military drills. Codenamed what translates into WAVE, the live fire exercises north of Manila involved tanks, missiles, heavy artillery, showcasing growing defense ties between the two sides. All right, some breaking news coming in right now from the United States, where a shooting has taken place in Minneapolis school. In fact, as per the latest, at least 3 have died, 20 have been injured in that shooting. Yet another shooting incident being reported from the United States, and what's been a deadly year so far itself. In fact, that shooting has taken place at a school is what is known as of now. 3 dead, 20 injured, and the authorities are saying that the shooter was among those killed. That's the latest coming in at this point. Initial details. Let's go live to the Minneapolis mayor, meanwhile, who is currently speaking.
That is beyond comprehension. Our hearts are broken for everyone that's been affected by this tragedy. As we begin the difficult path of healing, I want the community to know this, that even in the face of such evil, the Minneapolis Police Department and all of our law enforcement partners stand with our community. We stand with these families and with this parish. We will continue to be here for you. With that, the investigation is obviously in its preliminary stages, and I will attempt to take some questions to provide further information.
Chief, what can you tell us about the suspect in this case? How old was he? Any kind of motivation? Any notes or any other information you might have left behind?
So we were looking, the question was, what can be said about the shooter? We believe it is one suspect, a sole shooter. We believe he is deceased. He is in his early 20s, does not have an extensive known criminal history. And we are looking through information left behind to try and determine some type of motive. Yeah. How many children? There were, I don't have an exact, the question was how many children at the school. There were dozens of children inside the mass at the time. I don't have an exact count. The children have been relocated into the school, which is where their families are reunifying with them. Reg.
Other than the weapons, was the shooter a student, former student? Was he a former employee?
The question was, do we know if the shooter was a former school employee or a former student? We don't have that information.
Did you leave anything behind other than the weapons?
There's a vehicle. The question was anything left behind? There's a vehicle that we believe that the suspect used that is being searched, and we will be conducting other searches related to this. Inside the parking lot here. Yep.
There was some neighbors who said that the door to the church had been barricaded.
Yep. So the question.
I will, of course, keep a close eye on the latest coming in from the United States. Yet another shooting. This one has taken place at that school in Minneapolis. 3 have been killed. Shifting focus for now, a shadow war between the West and Russia continues to play out, and there is high alert over the Baltic skies as German jets roar into action. NATO jets scrambled after a Russian spy plane was spotted, and this comes close on the heels of America sending fighter jets after spotting Russian nuclear-capable bombers for the 3rd time in a week. Our next report taking a closer look at this dangerous game of cat and mouse at 30,000 feet.
Engines ignited. Sirens blared. In moments, German Eurofighter jets tore into the Baltic skies. Their mission, intercept a Russian reconnaissance plane creeping too close for comfort. It was a flashpoint over Europe's most sensitive airspace. NATO radars picked up the intruder within minutes. The Eurofighters closed in, locking sights on the Russian spy bird. What followed was a tense aerial standoff, a cold reminder that Russia's shadow looms large even far away from Ukraine's front lines. Berlin has confirmed the scramble. Officials say the Russian aircraft was operating without a flight plan, ignoring international rules, a deliberate test or a dangerous provocation. NATO isn't taking chances. This isn't an isolated flare-up. Just days ago, Russian warplanes buzzed close to NATO patrols in the same region. But this aerial chess match isn't confined to Europe. Just hours later, half a world away, American fighters were in action. US F-16s intercepted Russian military aircraft off Alaska, the third such encounter in just a week. Russia says these are normal patrols and no one needs to be alarmed. But each scramble, each intercept turns the tension tighter. In the Baltic, German Eurofighters shadow Moscow's spybird. Over the Arctic, US jets lock eyes on Russian bombers. A silent duel played out at supersonic speed. The danger is real. Experts warn that a single miscalculation, a pilot too close, a maneuver too sharp, could turn these encounters into a shooting war. NATO has stepped up its readiness, deploying more fighters, more radars, more patrols. Russia continues to send its aircraft, challenging the alliance from Europe's heart to America's doorstep. Bureau Report, WION The World is One.
I think it's very insulting to say students can't come here.
切实保障他们的正当。
While on one hand, US President Donald Trump seems to be tightening his immigration noose around international students, on the other, he also seems to be wooing Chinese students to the United States. One thing is clear, when it comes to Trump's China policy, absolutely nothing can be predicted. And the reason why that's being said is because even as Washington continues to corner Beijing on trade, tariffs, Trump has invited hundreds of thousands of Chinese students to American soil. Speaking at the White House, Donald Trump told reporters that around 600,000 Chinese students would be allowed into the US to pursue higher education. He further said that US colleges would practically struggle without Chinese students.
Well, we think look, we're getting along very well with China. And I'm getting along very well with President Xi. I think it's very insulting to say students can't come here because they'll go out and they'll start building schools and they'll be able to survive it. But I like that their students come here. I like that other countries' students come here. And you know what would happen if they didn't? Our college system would go to hell very quickly. And it wouldn't be the top colleges.
And Trump's comments also drew a reaction from China, by the way, with the foreign ministry saying that it hopes that Trump will deliver on his promises. The ministry further urged for an end of harassment of Chinese students in the United States.
Educational exchanges and cooperation are conducive to enhancing understanding among people of all countries. We hope that the US side will implement President Trump's statement of welcoming Chinese students to study in the United States and stop the unprovoked harassment, interrogation and repatriation of Chinese students, and effectively protect their legitimate rights and interests.
And quite evidently, Trump's China commitment did not sit too well with his MAGA supporter base, who think that the influx of immigrants might compromise on the prospect of American students. Back in May, Trump's administration, remember, revoked Harvard University's ability to enroll foreign students, a move later blocked by a federal judge. And today, U.S. Secretary of Commerce has likened the H-1B visa program and green cards to a scam and suggested alterations in the current immigration system. The question still is, amid the current ecosystem of crackdowns in a way, what really lies ahead for international students? And can they manage to realize their American dream if they have one? Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are engaged. Swifties cannot keep calm. The internet has been buzzing. Fans around the world celebrating their favorite love story going official. The announcement dropped on August 26, and fans made sure the internet felt it. Meetings paused, group chats blew up, timelines turned into one giant celebration. This was not just an Instagram post, it was a global fan event. Swifties also zeroed in on the outfit, the $400 Ralph Lauren striped sundress that Taylor Swift wore, sold out in just 20 minutes. But the real fan frenzy was around the ring. The old minecart diamond, handcrafted in 18-karat gold, has got fans talking. The engagement photos are a romantic embrace in front of a floral backdrop. And within hours, the couple's post racked up over 1.9 million likes. Swifties, or Taylor Swift fans as they are called, now predicting it will soon be one of the most liked posts in Instagram history. And now the speculation begins. Will it be a destination wedding in Italy, as some speculation and rumor suggest, or a crossover moment at the Super Bowl with Travis and Taylor Swift both taking center stage perhaps? What will it be? Swifties and NFL fans are united in dreaming about what lies ahead. And all this happens as she gears up to release The Life of a Showgirl this October. And her fans are now asking the big question, does this engagement signal the end of heartbreak ballads or the start of a whole new era of love anthems? Picture this, dark blobs of dust turning clear blue skies into pitch black, dimming visibility, grounding flights, and bringing life to a standstill. In southwest United States, her boobs have taken over, and no, they are by no means ordinary dust storms. Massive walls of dust and debris called haboobs engulfed part of Arizona's Phoenix City, plunging parts of it into darkness, and this was followed by severe thunderstorms for hours. The visuals are dystopic to say the least, leaving thousands of residents of Arizona's Phoenix without power supply and choking the city's communication lines. But what are her boobs really, and how are they formed? To begin with, her boobs are dense walls of dust kicked up by thunderstorms and can be several miles long, several thousand feet high, reaching speeds of up to nearly 100 kilometers per minute. In fact, they can travel hundreds of miles depending on the area's geographic terrain, and are common in arid regions such as the southwestern United States, the Saharan Desert, and the Arabian Peninsula. How are they formed? A seasonal high-pressure pattern that forms when summer temperatures cause a shift in wind patterns that draw in moisture from the Pacific Ocean and the Gulf of California. It is this moisture that basically helps fuel thunderstorms in the area that then trigger dust storms like haboobs. Experts suggesting an increase in the frequency and the magnitude of extreme dust storms like haboobs can be expected due to climate change. Extreme winds, hot days, drier summers, and high humidity are also factors that can lead to dust kicking up a storm. Experts further suggest haboobs may also entail health risks like contracting respiratory infections, cardiovascular conditions perhaps, as well as contamination from metals like lead and arsenic, which can be swept up by haboobs, which remain suspended for a long time and endanger public and animal health. The best bet for residents is to stay indoors and stay masked, use air purifiers to reduce exposure, and really just allow the storm to pass. A rather strange object is drifting through the cosmos. The James Webb Space Telescope has captured images that leave even top scientists puzzled. Is it a comet, an asteroid, or something far more extraordinary?
It looks like a comet. It behaves like an asteroid. Yet, in the latest images from the James Webb Space Telescope, the object appears to defy simple explanations. And that's why the debate has exploded: comet, asteroid, or could it be a spaceship? A new visitor is screaming through our cosmic neighborhood, and it's causing quite a stir. Meet 3I Atlas, an interstellar object moving at a blistering 60 kilometers per second. First spotted in July, this celestial anomaly has a trajectory so statistically improbable, it's raising eyebrows at the highest levels of astrophysics. Its path includes a series of impossibly close flybys of Mars, the Sun, and Jupiter, a sequence of cosmic coincidences with a probability of just 0.05%. Now the James Webb Space Telescope's Deep Space Eye caught the mysterious traveler glowing faintly against the black canvas of space. Its trail is odd, not the fiery, predictable streak of a comet, not the silent, rock-like stillness of an asteroid. Instead, it shows unusual movement, almost calculated, almost deliberate. Is this a probe masking as a comet? Is the brightness an engineered signal? NASA says no. The world isn't so sure. With closest approach set for December, every eye is glued to the sky. Whatever happens next, it's clear. The sky has sent us another mystery, and the silence between the stars just got louder. Bureau Report, WION. World is one.
Let me now ask you this: how quickly can you flip a tire more than 50 meters? Or how many high fives can you give in 30 seconds? Or maybe you've got a hidden skill like holding a mountain of table tennis balls in one hand? Because if you do, Guinness World Records wants to hear from you. To celebrate its 70th birthday, Guinness has unveiled 70 brand new record titles. None of them have been claimed as of now. What are some of these unclaimed record titles, you ask? Well, the fastest 400-meter sack race, most t-shirts put on in 30 seconds, or most water moved by hands in 30 seconds. And all of this goes back to 1954, by the way, when the then managing director of the Guinness Brewery wanted a definitive almanac to settle debates like which was the fastest game bird, for example. And that simple idea gave birth to a global phenomenon. And since then, Guinness World Records has become a showcase of humanity's most bizarre, even unique achievements that stand out, like the man with the world's longest tongue. measuring more than 10 centimeters, or the fastest time taken to eat a pizza with a knife and fork, under 24 seconds, or the longest dosa, measuring nearly 38 meters. At its London headquarters, meanwhile, Guinness receives up to 50,000 suggestions for new records every year. Only around 4,000 get approved after careful checks to ensure that they are measurable, breakable, and standardized. Even something as simple as a high five must follow strict guidelines, like the hands need to be above the head, a clear audible clap, no shortcuts. So the question still is, what is stopping you? The list is out there: stacking potato chips perhaps, tying shoelaces at lightning speed, or putting on the most t-shirts in 30 seconds. Guinness is waiting for you. The air is filled with devotion as Ganesh Chaturthi is being celebrated across India. Lovingly called Ganpati Bappa, he's being welcomed into homes and community pandals from every nook and corner of the country, transformed into a vibrant tapestry of colors, lights, devotion. In Mumbai, the festival celebrations are incomplete without the iconic Lal Baksha Raja, known as the king of all Ganpati idols. The towering deity drew thousands of devotees who stood in long queues to seek blessings. The atmosphere was electric, filled with chants of Ganpati Bappa Moria as people waited patiently. Devotees also thronged the Sri Siddhivinayak temple there to offer prayers. The temple reverberated with chants and rituals as the worshippers lined up to seek blessings. Prime Minister Modi also extended heartfelt greetings, wishing that the festival of faith and devotion brings prosperity and auspiciousness to all. The festivities in Tamil Nadu commenced at the renowned temple with devotees gathering to offer prayers, while in Coimbatore, people converged for celebrations at the Sri Arulmigu Munthi Vinayagar temple. In Hyderabad, Khairatabad, a 69-feet idol has been installed, which is attracting massive crowds during the festival celebrations. Meanwhile, in Chennai, a unique idol has been created using 7,500 books, blending devotion with innovation. The concept standing out for highlighting not only the spiritual significance of the festival, but also the creative artistry involved in idol making. Also in Chennai, a massive 42 feet tall idol has been installed. It's made using 2,300 bronze plates and 1,500 kumkum plates. Devotees gather to catch a glimpse of the unique idol. In Kerala's Thiruvananthapuram, devotees thronged the Ganpati temple to offer prayers. Large crowds, festive celebrations, people gather to seek blessings. Also known as the god of wisdom, learning, new beginnings, and the remover of obstacles. On that note, it's a wrap on this edition of Gravitas tonight. This is me, Molly Gambhir, signing off. Thanks very much for watching.
Where darkness hides behind every corner. Where the truth is stranger than fiction. A show that dives deep into the stories which shock and mystify. Unsolved murders. Psychopaths who defy explanation. International war crimes. And millions swindled in financial fraud. The victims, the accused, and the sinister plot. Prime Crime is your front row seat to darkness.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa,